Canada's women's soccer team already in some hot water before the games officially begin. Hey everyone, Wong, joined alongside by Steve Simmons, who is in Paris covering the games. And Steve, it would not be an Olympics without a scandal. And unfortunately, it is Canada's women's soccer team that finds themselves in a mess where a pair of assistant coaches were sent home after it was found that they used a drone to spy on a pair of New Zealand practices. Head coach Bev Priestman has voluntarily taken herself out of the match against New Zealand, but will still continue to be on the sidelines moving forward. Steve, we'll see if anything else happens with sanctions as investigations continue. But as of right now, how surprised are you that Bev Priestman is still with the team?
I'm astounded, to be perfectly honest. She's the head coach. The buck stops, or supposed to stop, with the head coach, and her assistants have been sent home without dinner, and she's still the coach. And they're playing this afternoon against New Zealand in the first game of the tournament, the team they cheated on, by the way. And Coach Priestman is not at the game, having voluntarily, if you believe that one, pulled herself out of the game. And she'll be back coaching tomorrow. What she won't be doing today, by the way, is answering any questions on the subject of, the great explosion of these early days of the Olympics has been what's going on with the women's soccer team and the disqualification of the two assistant coaches. And it's against the law, by the way, to use drones in this country, or in this city. It's against the law. So they broke the law, not just ethics and integrity and all the rest of the stuff. They broke the law here, and in doing so, embarrassed themselves and embarrassed Canadian soccer and embarrassed the Canadian Olympic Association. It's one thing to have a scandal. It's another thing to have a scandal before the games even begin. I mean, that's record-breaking for Canada in stupidity and ignorance and many other things. How they did this and why they did this and how they got caught and everything else. This is Inspector Clouseau at its best in this wonderful country we're in right now.
Yeah, not the way Canada wanted to start these Olympic Games. They are, of course, the defending gold medalists from Tokyo in women's soccer. Steve, if they find their way landing on the podium again this year, do you think the medal will be tainted in any way because of this scandal?
Well, first of all, this team was not expected to be a contender. Christine Sinclair's retired. Other people have retired from that great Canadian gold medal winning team. And so to think that this team was going to repeat or be anywhere close to that was, I think, a stretch. But the problem is that they're playing, and no matter what happens now, that it's going to be looked at differently. And I think Bev Priestman, as coach of the Canadian soccer team for as long as she will be coach, which might be about another 8 minutes, she should have been sent home as well. And she should have been told, this is on you and this is on your team and your staff. Therefore, you take the hit as well. This business of the coach not knowing, I believe that about as far as I can, throw, whoever the largest Olympian is right now that I can't throw. But the team, unfortunately, are the victims now of what has already happened. Now, they might have a good Olympics, or they might have a bad Olympics, and people are going to, look at what happens now in relation to the scandal. And unfortunately, these kids are just playing soccer. They're just here to do their best. They're just here to do, what's brought joy to many of us over the past several Olympics, not just the gold medal performance, but previous performances in the past. This has been a great team and a great story. And it takes such a sudden turn here. That it will be tainted, whether it's good or bad. And unfortunately, the players are the victims in many ways, and the Canadian public is the victim. And there's a lot of victims here, and probably the most guilty is the coach, who hasn't been anything but slapped on the wrist for any of this.
Well, it feels like we're just starting this story. There are many layers left to come, it would seem. But as I mentioned before, not the start Canada wanted to have to begin these games. As always, leave your thoughts in the comments section below. For all of Steve's Olympic coverage, head over to the National Post.